Imagine a paradise that stretches across 76 square miles, slightly larger than Washington, D.C., surrounded by the pristine waters of the South Pacific. Anybody would like to live here in American Samoa, an American territory far from the mainland, yet it's home to about 45,000 people. That means for every square mile, there are just about 600 people, a stark contrast to the densely packed urban areas of the United States. It is still America, right? So why do so few Americans live in this tropical paradise? American Samoa sits in the South Pacific, halfway between Hawaii and New Zealand, and is part of the Samoan archipelago. Sure, it looks like a tropical dream, but this paradise is far from easy to live in. Isolated from major trade routes and with limited infrastructure, life here comes with its own set of challenges. It's one of only 2 U.S. possessions in the Southern Hemisphere and is positioned just east of the international dateline, adding to its isolation from mainland U.S. territories. Still, this cannot be the only set of reasons why people do not live here. Actually, these are the obvious ones. Let's dive deeper into the ones that are not that clear to the eye. Picture this: tropical warmth all year round with lush rainforests thriving under a steady stream of rain. It sounds like a dream, but when it rains, it pours, and storms hit hard, especially from December to March. While the lush rainforests are stunning, the frequent tropical storms and occasional cyclones make living here challenging. But before we get into the modern challenges, let's take a trip back in time. Over 4,000 years ago, the first Polynesian settlers arrived by canoe from Southeast Asia, bringing with them a rich cultural history that still thrives today. Over time, American Samoa became a cultural hub for Polynesian voyagers, offering refuge to exiled chiefs and warriors. European contact began in the early 1700s, but it wasn't until the late 19th century that the United States took a serious interest in the territory. In 1900, after a series of international disputes, the U.S. Navy formally took possession of American Samoa. Its capital, Pago Pago's, is famous for its harbor. Because it wasn't just any harbor, it became a crucial refueling station for the U.S. Navy. A coaling station where ships would stock up on fuel during long voyages. However, after World War II, American Samoa was largely left to govern itself, maintaining its traditional system of government and communal land ownership. This preservation of Samoan culture has helped shield the islands from the full extent of Western influence. Today, the majority of the population is ethnically Samoan, with small minorities of Tongan, Filipino, and people of mixed ethnicity. The Samoans are a Polynesian people, closely related to the native populations of Hawaii, New Zealand, and French Polynesia. Despite being a U.S. territory, the island's culture remains deeply rooted in its Polynesian heritage. Geographically, American Samoa consists of 5 volcanic islands: the main island of Tutuila, the smaller Anu'u, and the islands of Ofu, Olosega, and Ta'u, known collectively as the Manua Islands. There are also 2 distant atolls, Swains Island and Rose Island, which are among the most remote U.S. territories. The largest and most populous island is Tutuila, home to Pago Pago, the territory's capital. Known for its strategic deep-water harbor, Pago Pago is nestled between volcanic mountains and offers breathtaking natural beauty. But beyond its striking landscapes, the rugged terrain and isolation of these islands are key reasons why American Samoa remains lightly populated. Tutuila may be small, just 55 square miles, but it's packed with dramatic cliffs that plunge into the Pacific, making development difficult and isolating its communities. The southern side, on the other hand, offers flatter terrain and more accessible beaches. Aunuu, one of the smallest islands, spans only 0.6 square miles, yet is home to the largest wetland in the territory, Fa'amulivai Marsh, formed in a volcanic crater. The Manua Islands are particularly remote, located about 60 miles east of Tutuila. These islands are rugged and steep, with challenging coastlines that limit large-scale development. Ta'u Island has the highest point in the whole territory, Lata Mountain at 3,200 feet. Ofu and Olosega are separated by a narrow channel, and while they boast some of the world's most beautiful coral reefs, they are hardly accessible to outsiders. Swains Island and Rose Atoll, both nearly uninhabited, highlight just how isolated American Samoa really is. Swains Island, a privately owned coral atoll, lies 220 miles northwest of Tutuila, with fewer than 20 residents. Meanwhile, Rose Atoll, designated as a marine national monument, is a pristine wildlife sanctuary with no permanent residents, located 150 miles east of Pago Pago. Economically, American Samoa relies heavily on federal grants, military pensions, and the tuna fishing industry. Tuna canneries remain the largest employers on the islands, while agriculture is largely for subsistence. Bananas, coconuts, taro, and yams are cultivated in small family gardens, but the limited arable land and the island's remoteness mean that exports are minimal. Unlike the mainland, American Samoa's political system preserves much of its traditional leadership structure. Local chiefs, known as matai, hold significant influence, and land is owned communally, which limits external investment and large-scale development. This has preserved the traditional way of life, but it has also slowed modernization and economic expansion. While Pago Pago's harbor is well developed, much of the island's infrastructure lags behind U.S. mainland standards. Roads were improved in the 1970s and 90s, but telecommunications and internet services remain limited. For instance, American Samoa's internet speed ranks lower than that of several Eastern European countries. The remote location also complicates transportation and trade, which further impacts the territory's economic potential. American Samoa's isolation doesn't just affect its economy. It has broader consequences for the daily lives of its residents. With a limited healthcare system, many American Samoans travel to Hawaii or the mainland U.S. for specialized medical treatment. The cost of living is also higher than in most parts of the U.S. due to the reliance on imported goods. Despite these challenges, American Samoa retains a strong cultural identity and a close-knit community. The Samoan way of life, known as Fa'a Samoa, emphasizes family, tradition, and respect for elders. And this is reflected in the territory's governance and social structure. So why do so few Americans live in this paradise? It boils down to a combination of geography, history, and culture. American Samoa is beautiful and rich in tradition, but its isolation, challenging topography, and limited economic opportunities make it less appealing to those seeking the conveniences of mainland life. The territory's reliance on federal grants and its distance from major economic centers have hindered development, while its tropical storms and natural disasters add to the difficulties. Yet, for the people who call it home, American Samoa is more than just a remote outpost. It's a place deeply connected to their heritage, where community and tradition are the cornerstones of daily life.